A shocking move in the courts could get Bahamas construction going any day now.
Two countries celebrate the Nassau Accords that freed a nation and a nation builder.
Roll call. A bevy of barristers enter the profession. The Bahamas Tonight, the National Report starts now.
Now in HD. ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight. This portion of the news brought to you by BTC Everyday.
Thousands of workers who lost their jobs at Bahamas could soon be off the unemployment line. Good evening, everyone. I'm Charisma Robinson.
And I'm Chris Saunders. Thank you so much for joining us. A dramatic move this afternoon in the courts gives China XM Bank a bigger stake in the Bahamas project and appointed a receiver, which means construction on the $3.5 billion project could start any day now. Joining us live with the latest on these developments and what this could really mean for the property moving forward is our own Sieska Adley. Sieska, tell us a little bit more.
Thank you so much, Chris. Key stakeholders involved in the Bahamas case were back in court late Friday afternoon to discuss the way forward for the multi-billion-dollar project. During those proceedings, an application was made by China XM Bank to appoint receivers. This move essentially allows the bank to continue on with construction by investing its own money. Although discussions took place behind closed doors, we caught up with one of the appointed joint provisional liquidators, Edmund Ramming, from Chris Global as he left the court.
The bank has sought leave to appoint receivers, and that has actually happened. The court has granted them leave to appoint receivers as of today. We're going to sit down with the receivers and try to come up with a protocol as to how we work together moving forward to come up with the best strategic option to get the project open as quickly as possible.
In a statement, Alistair Beveridge of Alex Partners says their role now is to work closely with Deloitte as the bank's appointed receivers with a view to exploring and deciding on the most appropriate strategic option in order to see the resort completed and open for business. We also spoke with the firm's managing partner, Raymond Winder, who, along with two colleagues from Beijing, China, will oversee the process.
Well, receivership means basically a continuation of the process that was initially started by the joint provisional liquidator. The only difference is that XM Bank itself now has decided to take steps based on the powers that are in the mortgage agreement. This afternoon or later on today, the order will be posted and will provide a lot more clarity as to what the judge is prepared to do.
And they're not wasting any time in moving the process along.
We would have to meet with the joint provisional liquidators to get a sense as to all of the steps that they've taken and get an understanding of that before we move forward. Well, I'll meet with the provisional liquidators today.
All sides were expected back in court on November 4th, but that has since been pushed back to November 25th because more petitioners wanted to be added. The Bahamian Riviera, as you know, has been stalled for months now since its developer Sarkis Merlion filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in the Delaware courts. Since then, it has been a war of words as to the way forward. And just last week, nearly 2,000 employees were made redundant. However, this latest move could be seen as a step in the right direction that could lead to the opening of the resort in the shortest possible time frame. Live in the newsroom, I'm Sieska Adley, ZNS Network News.
Thanks so much, Sieska, for the latest on that. Former employees of Bahamas are continuing to visit the Department of Labor for assistance. However, before they make that trek to the department, they must first stop at the National Insurance Board. Tonight, Carla Palmer explains step by step the protocols disengaged workers are required to take.
Becoming unemployed is unfortunate, but it's also a sad reality. Locally, there are laws in place to protect laid-off persons. Director of Labor Robert Farquharson is on record encouraging the jobless, like workers recently laid off at Bahamas, to access what's available to them.
They have to go to the National Insurance Board. National Insurance Board, they get a form for national insurance. for unemployment benefits. And part of that application process requires that you register with the Bahamas Employment Exchange. That means you are actively seeking employment. When you come to register, you have to bring some information for us so we can properly register in our database.
Key requirements of job seekers being input or entered into the Bahamas Employment Exchange databank is that each individual present an authentic identification, which includes a passport or voter's card and a national insurance card.
It would be good if you bring some details like a complete resume. So we would say this person has this amount of experience, blank, blank. We put it inside the database. Then we stamp you. Then we give you a card. You stamp. You take that card and stamp, and you take it back to national insurance along with the application form, and thereby you enter the process and you obtain unemployment benefits. You get unemployment benefits for up to 13 weeks.
While Farquharson commits his team at the Department of Labor to actively seek to match job skills with requirements, he's still urging persons presently unemployed to not sit idle, but instead look aggressively for new work as well.
You have to come, you have to visit our offices, I think it's once a month, to make sure that check with us, because our job here is to actively look for employment on your behalf.
A return to the Department of Labor once a month is not an option but a requirement. It shows that you are not only following up to see if there were any job openings, but to get your card stamped, because only then will you continue to receive an unemployment check from the National Insurance Board. Carla Palmer, ZNS Network News.
Another piece of breaking news we're following tonight. Caribbean Republic Incorporated, the promoters of the Caribbean Music Festival, having completed the first 2 of 4 planned events, announced the postponement of the remaining 2 events due to what they called insurmountable logistical difficulties. The festival organizers assure the public that full restitution will be made on ticket purchases and vendors will be refunded fees paid and all contractual obligations will be met as well. As soon as discussions are concluded with all strategic and interested partners, another date for the resumption of the festival will be announced. They apologize to the public, artists, vendors, and other parties who will be disappointed by this decision. They assure that the Caribbean Music Festival will resume under more favorable conditions. Now, day 2 of the festival could only be measured by the history that it recognized. The Nassau Accord was a major step in the ending of apartheid in South Africa, and last night, the festival did its part to remember that historic conference. The South African High Commissioner to the Caribbean was among the dignitaries present, as well as the Soweto Gospel Choir, a Grammy Award-winning group hailing from South Africa. Prime Minister, the Right Honorable Perry Christie, gave a detailed history of the progress towards ending apartheid and the Bahamas' role in the struggle. The Prime Minister assured the country that the Bahamas is still an ally.
So as we stand in solidarity with South Africa, as we stood then in solidarity with South Africa in 1985, today we salute the government and people of South Africa as they address the legacy of apartheid and as they play their leadership role in Southern Africa and the world.
Also recognized last night, Ronnie Butler, who received a Lifetime Achievement Award. Butler is hailed as one of the greatest Bahamian artists of all time. He says he was honored to receive the award and even more honored by the performance of the Soweto Choir.
I have to say something here that might be a little off the cuff because, you know, the man told you that I say what I think and how I feel. Listening to that group this evening from Soweto, it brought back the Africa in me.
The League of Fraternity is welcoming new members as approximately 24 lawyers were called to the bar between today and yesterday. The ceremony featured some of the profession's top minds, and presidents of the Bar Association welcome the newcomers.
There's very little that I can add to what you would have been taught by your illustrious principal, Madam Miss Tanya Bastian Galanis, and Miss Johnson, who's passed, because she taught you ethics. There's very little I can say to you after hearing what your presenters said about you. There's very little that I can say after you had a discussion with Malad, and he would have told you what is expected of you.
John Ferguson is one of the new lawyers being called.
And we encountering the dreaded course, ethics, and responsibilities. My Lord, on our meetings with the President and your charge you gave us yesterday, my Lord, much emphasis was placed on ethics. And my Lord, we were under the strict rule and command of Madam Principal Tonya Bastian Galanis, along with Mr. Denise Longley Lewis. And my Lord, the teachings of ethics, my Lord, it has prepared us for this day. And you can rest assured, my Lord, that we would be prepared and not able to, not fall victim to those traps, my Lord.
Congratulations out to BJ as well. More aid coming into the Bahamas, courtesy of a pastor in Miami with Bahamian roots. Pastor Eric Redon hails from New Missionary Baptist Church. He says him and other churches are in the area have chipped in to send in the new aid.
Today's initiative is to help the people in Acklands and the outer islands because Bahamas has suffered a great storm, and a couple of our churches have gotten together, New Birth in Miami, Mount Bethel, along with New Beginning Missionary Baptist Church, my church, and we decided to collect some items, and my church personally paid to bring a plane over to deliver the items to you guys. And we have building materials on the way as well next week, and we're just trying to do our part to help out the outer islands.
The pastor also took an opportunity to explain his Bahamian roots.
My connection to Bahamas, my mother, she's originally from Acklands, the island Acklands, and my heart goes out, and we want to support Minister Gibson and all that he's doing. Excellent. The pilots, Landmark Aviation, oh man, my hats go off to them. They're doing a great job putting this together.
This is your Royal Fidelity Business News. I'm Jimenita Swain. The Board of Directors of Bahamas Waste Limited announced the successful results of its initial share buyback program with a total of 177,822 shares being bought back between October 2012 through October 2015, bringing the outstanding number of issued ordinary shares to 4,022,178. The price of BWL shares was $2.31 when the program began, and the value has now increased by 68% to $3.50. In other business news, the Bahamas Financial Services Board's Towards a Bilingual Bahamas initiative held its first meeting earlier this month with 20 language cadets. 6 of the 8 New Providence-based public schools are participating in the Rosetta Stone language program, while 9 Family Island schools will learn Spanish and French for the next 8 months. The Language Cadet program, which is under the supervision of the Ministry of Education, will continue to the end of the 2015-2016 school year. And in international business news, according to U.S. government statistics, a record 1,426 Americans gave up their citizenship in the third quarter of 2015. CNN Money is reporting that an increasing number of American expats are bidding Uncle Sam farewell because they are tired of dealing with complicated tax paperwork. Last year, 15 times more Americans renounced their citizenship than in 2008. That was your Royal Fidelity Business News. I'm Jimenita Swain.
Schools from throughout the country received much-needed seed money that will go towards preparation for the 2015 Junior Junkanoo Parade. The cash amounts were handed out Thursday during a press conference at the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture. This year's parade will be held on December 12th at the Thomas A. Robinson National Stadium. Minister of Youth, Sports and Culture, Dr. Danny Johnson, said the Junior Junkanooers are ready. Schools participating are ready. Meanwhile, General Manager of Salt Petroleum Bahamas Limited, Keith Glinton, explains why the ESSO licensee continues to be a major sponsor.
The junior parades are all lined up and ready to go. All the kids are ready. All the schools are back in. Some of the former champions are back in the game because they saw what happened last year, and some newcomers are coming in. Of course, we're going to have Spanish Wells, Andros, and some others come to town. But we also have to acknowledge places like Cat Island, which has last year had their first Junior Junkanoo Parade ever.
And our ability to come and partner with the governing institution for Junkanoo for 25 plus years and to be able through that partnership to grow that institution of Jonkanu through Junior Jonkanu was something that certainly has exceeded our expectations.
National Junior Jonkanu Coordinator Henry Higgins said the funds go a long way in assisting participating schools.
This year we have 21 schools in New Providence participating, along with the 9 urban renewal centers. So we're giving out 30 groups seed money today, which would amount to $115,000 in seed funding. So seed funding helps to prepare with purchasing of extra material, because we also give them material to get them started. We also supply contact and glue and wire and crepe paper, and so this helps them to get the extra stuff that they need, probably the decorations. If they run out of the contact we give them, they can purchase some more. Also help them with the help of constructing their banner. And one of the exciting things this year about the parade, as we have begun about 2 years ago, we will have a king and queen competition, and that will start where every school will get to enter a king or queen, and upon the winners from each category will actually be given a tablet or a laptop.
Winston Moss and Philippa Ford are among the 46 employees and retirees from the National Insurance Board who were honored last night during the annual Long Service Award ceremony held at the British Colonial Hilton Hotel. Moss started his career at NIB as a clerk, but rose to Assistant Director of Family Island Operations when he officially retired this week. Philippa Ford started out as a clerk in Grand Bahama, but retired as a clerical supervisor. Both Moss and Ford say they are grateful to have had such a wonderful career where they had the opportunity to serve and help Bahamians every day.
My experience with NIB has been a very satisfying one. When I left, as a matter of fact, I came straight out of high school and I started working the same year, several months later. NIB, to me, I've always thought that it was the very best thing that happened to this country.
I enjoyed my 38 years there. I miss getting up every morning, but I still find myself getting up at 7 o'clock and having nowhere to go. But I'm getting used to it.
Minister with responsibility for NIB, the Honorable Shane Gibson, was on hand through the awards, where he used the occasion to salute past and current employees for their valuable contributions to NIB.
For 41 years, the National Insurance Board has met the Social Security mandate for which it was implemented. Its accomplishments are owed in great part to the hard-working team of professionals it employs. I'm exceedingly proud of the commitment and dedication you show day in and day out as you accomplish for the board and ultimately for our country extraordinary things that many wish they could achieve.
The police force laid to rest one of its own today. A full military service was held for retired Superintendent of Police, 65-year-old Nigel Clark. The service held at St. Barnabas Anglican Church and principally officiated by Canon Basil Tynes. The late Clark served on the force for almost 40 years before retiring in 2009. He holds the distinct honor of being the first Bahamian Director of Music of the Royal Bahamas Police Force Band. Assistant Commissioner of Police Stephen Dean says the late Clark's contributions will forever be heralded.
Nigel Clark have made an indelible contribution to the country and the Royal Bahamas Police Force and impacted many lives and community. We want to say he's an absolute example of a musician. He has touched many lives. I'm telling you, the testament here, the people who turned up, I'm telling you, the former officers of the Royal Bahamas Police Force and the senior command and the junior officers, people come over and drove just to pay their respect and libel to Nigel Clark, that he have touched their lives. And this is what, people don't always see the side of police officers, particularly officers in the Royal Bahamas Police Force Band. But I can tell you that we feel good today that he's made a contribution to society, that he should be resting in peace right now.
The late Clark is described as a music maestro with the ability to play a variety of reed instruments. ACP Dean also noted that his late colleague was also very unselfish when it came to teaching his gift of music.
He did not only work just with the Royal Bahamas Police Force Band. There are many community bands who are a testament of Nigel Clark pouring into their lives. There are many civic bands and other persons and clubs who really lay testament of what Nigel Clark has done for them. So we are really proud of him. We are really proud of his accomplishments, and the country should feel proud, but the country is at a deep loss. But I can tell you that Nigel Clark would live long among us through death,
we will always remember him.
If you were downtown yesterday, you saw this and couldn't figure out why there were so many crowds. Customers actually flocked to the John Bull downtown store to take advantage of bargains being offered by the retailer. Director of Business Development, Inga Boleg, says the sale is one of the ways for John Bull to give back to its loyal customers.
Our annual anniversary sale, and the timing seems to be absolutely perfect. So many customers coming out very early this morning to support with savings up to 75%. Really can't blame them, right? The sale features then fragrances, timepieces, leather, cosmetics, footwear, all at up to 75% off, but certainly select items. And we want to take this opportunity to indeed thank the Bahamian public for their patronage throughout the years. We definitely think that it was appropriate, or it is appropriate rather, for us to stage a sale like this at a time like this in our economy.
Well, Chris, did you get to stop by?
I saw the big crowd and I said something is going on, but Inga seemed like she knew that there was a sale going on, and I'm sure she got something for the two of us.
I'm sure.
I'm sure.
Well, we'll go check out tomorrow.
We'll check her out, definitely.
Well, the Family Line Connection, brought to you by BTC, is next.
You're watching the Bahamas Tonight, the National Report.
The Family Island News is brought to you by Shop Smart. Shop a lot and save a lot.
Another group of residents got a first look at BTC's IPTV service and walked away impressed. A BTC official tells Cleopatra Murphy about the pending launch and what Bahamians can expect when it comes on stream.
It doesn't get more peaceful than this for the flamingos or intrigued intruders like me. But Inagua's location, straddling the southern shore, makes it a favorable stop for migrants to whom Doris Pyfram has often lent a humanitarian helping hand.
Well, once they get on land, they would take them to the police station, and they would call the Red Cross. We'd find clothes for them. We have a number of persons in the Red Cross who will assist us with cooking the food and feeding them. We make sure they have supplies like sanitary stuff.
Pyfram is shelter manager for the Red Cross in Inagua. It's a labor of love, assisted by BTC.
BTC assists in the work first. Every year they assist us. We haven't had a year that they didn't assist us. Not yet. I've been here for 6 years with the Red Cross, but not a year that they didn't assist us.
Communication is a big part of the equation, especially in times of storm. And having options, as Pyfram points out, has been key.
Product-wise, we use phone cards, cell phones. So the donations with BTC is kind of okay because the cell system is good. Well, landline, with weather, especially during the hurricane season, the weather lines are not, you would have lines that pop down and all that stuff, but cell phone is wonderful.
So whether in times of trouble or the more frequent peaceful times, Pyfram has this admonition for BTC.
So keep up the good work.
Keishla Adderley for the BTC Island Connection.
Well, that was actually our Keisha Adderley with that story on the Red Cross and BTC, that collaboration there, Chris.
Definitely one that's working out.
Yes. Well, it's time now for a check on weather.
We head over now to our chief meteorologist, our guardian of the weather, Basil Dean. Basil.
Well, thank you, Christopher and Charisma. At this time, we generally take a look at temperatures around the Family Islands. We start off at Freeport, the cool spot tonight at 81, 82 degrees in Bimini, also Green Turkey, Abaco, 82, 83 in Marsh Harbor, the Berry Islands, Fresh Creek, Central Andrews, also over in Harbor Island, they're reporting 83 degrees. In Rock Sound, Eleuthera, 84, 84 here in the capital. Kemp's Bay, South Andrews, 85, 85 degrees in Staniel Key in the Exuma Chain. Artistown, Cat Island, 84. In San Salvador, it is 84, and that extends right into Rum Key, Exuma Mainland, 85. Long Island, 86. Crooked Island and Acklands at 87. Picking up 88 degrees in Ragged Island, Mayaguana, Matthewtown, Inagua, and our neighbors to the southeast, Turks and Caicos Islands, also at 88 degrees. Boating forecast tonight brought to you by Builders Mall, home of FYP, the Tile King, and the Paint Center. Light and variable winds expected tonight in the northwest Bahamas. Your wave heights 3 feet or less. High tide taking place at 10:59 tonight. In the central and southeastern parts of the country, winds out of the northeast 10 to 15 knots. Your wave heights 2 to 4 feet. And tomorrow, for all areas, winds out of the northeast as well. They will be 10 to 15 knots in speeds. Wave heights 2 to 4 feet. High tide 11:28 in the morning, low tide 5:58 in the afternoon. And then comes Sunday in the northwestern islands. The winds take on an easterly flow at 10 to 15 knots, wave heights holding at 2 to 4 feet. Low tide 6:01 in the morning, with your high tide taking place at 12:52 in the afternoon. In the central and southeastern islands on Sunday, winds starting to pick up out of the east, 12 to 18 knots, and your wave heights increasing 3 to 6 feet over the ocean with a moderate chop. And that's going to do it for your boating forecast. It is time now for your travel forecast. And your travel forecast is brought to you by Royal Star Assurance. And that's going to do it for your travel forecast, brought to you by Royal Star Assurance. But stay tuned, your 5-day forecast is still ahead.
Welcome to Tips for Wellness. I'm Dr. Indira Grimes. Cholesterol is a waxy substance your body uses to protect nerves, make cell tissues, and produce certain hormones. Your liver makes all the cholesterol your body needs. Your body also gets cholesterol directly from the food you eat, such as eggs, meats, and dairy products. Too much cholesterol can have a negative impact on your health. Low-density lipoprotein, or LDL, is often called the bad cholesterol. It delivers cholesterol to your body. High-density lipoprotein, or HDL, is often called good cholesterol. It removes cholesterol from the bloodstream. If your total cholesterol level is high because of a high LDL level, you may be at risk of heart disease or stroke. But if your total cholesterol level is high only because of a high HDL level, you're probably not at a higher risk. Triglycerides are another type of fat in your blood. When you eat more calories than your body can use, it turns the extra calories into triglycerides. Your cholesterol levels should be as follows. The total cholesterol level should be less than 200. 200 to 239 is borderline high. 240 or more puts you at risk of heart disease. LDL cholesterols below 100 is ideal for people who have higher risks of heart disease. 100 to 129 is near optimal. 130 to 159 is borderline high. 160 or more means you are at higher risk of heart disease. For HDL cholesterol levels less than 40 means you're at higher risk of heart disease. 60 or higher greatly reduces your risk of heart disease. Triglycerides less than 150 is best. If you suspect or have been diagnosed with high cholesterol levels, talk with your doctor right away about how to lower your levels and stay healthy. This has been Tips for Wellness. I'm Dr. Indira Grimes. Live your best life by living well.
This is ZNS Total Sports, brought to you by Fourth Terrace Diagnostic Center.
Welcome to sports, everybody. The Bahamas Softball Federation's national round robin not getting off to the start officials were hoping for. We get that story tonight from Julian Gibson.
Benson Big Tuna are protesting the decision by the Bahamas Softball Federation not allowing 3 of their players, including Alcott Forbes, to play in the round-robin tournament. Big Tuna venting their frustration by not taking to the diamond last night against the Bulldogs from Abaco.
Through the grapevine, we heard rumors, but we wrote numerous letters to the president. As a matter of fact, his conversation to me said that he was gonna He have his letter typed up in his computer and he was going to send it. We never received it. As far as I'm concerned, it's a constitution issue, and they were not willing to accept it, so therefore we had to take a stand, man.
Will y'all be playing a second game and a third game, or that's it?
We will be visiting you here at the park for a second game and a third game, of course, but we sure as hell won't be playing.
Now, Ted Miller, president of the Bahamas Softball Federation, could care less about the champions from Eleuthera not playing. He is sticking with the rules, but he feels very frustrated for the fans.
I wasn't always the president of the federation. I was a fan too, coming to expecting a big game, a great game, and you know, I know what it feels if it don't come off. So I know what they're feeling. I don't know how and when we could make it up to them, but I hopefully before the tournament over, they could have a spectacular night out and feel good about the end results.
Now for the Bulldogs, they are saying if Big Tuna believe they can swim with the big fish, they should have stepped into the deep last night and swim and stop crying.
We've come from Albuquerque, all us are Albuquerque born and bred Albuquerqueans come here to play. So I don't know what's the problem, why they can't bring all of the Eleuthera players here to play us.
Everybody was gap, you know, they had a lot of talks that they come in, there's the home of softball, but no show, man. They cowards, man, a bunch of cowards, that's all I could say.
Would you mind, had a problem, if Alcott played tonight?
I want to go by the Constitution, that's the number one thing. If we got to abide by it, everybody needs to abide by it, and the Constitution is clear. You can't travel to play ball, you got to be working and gainfully employed and living where you're playing. And that's the bottom line, and I'm glad the BSF stood up this time and made a stand for it.
This situation, we will have to wait and see how it all works out. Reporting for ZNS Total Sports, I am Julian Gibson.
Thanks a lot, Julian. Now the BSF president, he went on to talk about what repercussions may follow for Big Tuna as a result of their boycott.
We have a clause for deliberate default, and we gotta go in and see what fines or what we're going to levy against them anyhow for the fault in the game. Deliberately the fault in the game, that's the difference.
The lights are out here, you think it's intentional the lights went out?
Well, no, it seems as if BC is off on the whole area, so it ain't that someone killed the switch, unless somebody working with BC.
They were able to get 2 games in on opening day of the round robin. For more on that, we swing it back over to Julian Gibson.
Benson, for the first 2 innings, the fans from Andres, boy, they had a lot to rejoice and be happy about. Go Andres! Go Andres! That's right, Andres led the Truckers 2-0. But boy, the Truckers would pick up steam and start rolling. They would go on to beat Andres 9-2.
It's a good one. Jane, he didn't pitch in a long time. We needed to see what he had, and he put up a good showing. He's throwing the ball really good. Our offense, I was late to the game, but our offense was really good. Pooh was on fire as usual in October, but we're looking really good.
We lost a great team. I mean, the Truckers are one of the top teams in the league, and they are back to outstanding tonight. They really did a toll on us with the hitting. As a matter of fact, they hit about 4 home runs of us, and we had a few arrows and whatnot, but we just need to really be focused and go all out again. We just need to be more unified, work on that defense, and the pass balls, we just need to keep it in front of us, and we'll do much better next time.
Now in game 2 of the round robin tournament, how about the ladies from Spanish Wells? That's right, don't take them for granted at all. The Lady Stingers from New Providence found that out in a rude way. The T's are stitches, but they stitched up the Lady Stingers 15-11 to win the ball game.
They play good. I'm happy with my team. We come down to beat them and Freeport. They are teams we want to beat because they beat us last year and we want to come back and beat them.
That's a big win because we have never beaten Nassau, so we finally accomplished something here.
I just had a late start in the earlier part of the game, and as I got loose, I started throwing more strikes. We're just going to come back and do much better than we did tonight.
A great start for the ladies from Spanish Wells. It will be very interesting to see how they play the rest of the tournament. Reporting for ZNS Total Sports, I am Julian Gibson.
The B3As will hold its annual general meeting and election of officers at the end of next month, and at least one team plans to challenge the current administration. Team United Purpose is led by Rosamond Carey, who hopes to become the new B3As president. Also included on that slate are Tony Williams-Darling for first vice president, Troy McIntosh for second VP, Carl Oliver for secretary general, Maybelline Miller for assistant secretary, Sharon Gardner for treasurer, Mildred Adderley for assistant treasurer, Rupert Gardner for statistician, Philip Gray for public relations, and Dexter Bodie for special projects.
Team who are prepared to bring a new transformational federation. We are prepared to bring change. We are prepared to be innovative.
When we're successful on November 28th, our team will continue to do what we've been doing so far. We will have a conclave from that Saturday until that following Monday.
The Federation has not been in the state that we would have liked to see it in, and we know coming out of these elections, we intend to have a united front that we can all be proud of and move forward.
We have a very comprehensive strategic plan, and we have 4 pillars, and I'm going to give you just a brief synopsis of the pillars. The first one is restructuring and revitalizing the organization. The second pillar is strengthening our brand and commercial values. The third is renewing stakeholders' relationship for future development. And our fourth and final pillar is building our global experience.
Keno Demerit continues to make a name for himself in primary school basketball. Demerit has led a successful program at Temple Christian for a number of years now, setting a foundation for his players to go on and achieve even bigger goals.
I've seen many successes from after they came from Temple Christian School. They went on to do a lot of great things with their high schools and their other schools that they play in. I also had some girls that went off to college who's actually still doing some really good things.
The National Family Island Regatta Committee will host a gala banquet next Saturday, November 7th at Sandals Emerald Bay in Exuma. The event is being held to celebrate the Cacique Award the regatta won earlier in the year. We recently spoke with Commodore Danny Strohan to get an update.
There's some loose ends we're trying to tie up in terms of the hall and people getting certain things in place. But as far as I'm concerned, everything is go, and we're getting ready for the 7th of November.
This is a landmark event for the National Family Island Regatta Committee.
Yes, it is. It represents, the toil and the hard work of all those persons who have brought this event to where it is for the past 62 years. I was really ecstatic, when we won the award. I had no doubt we would have won it. But the thing it is, when you look at where the sport has come from, it's amazing that we hadn't won it much earlier than we did. But nevertheless, we're grateful for the fact that, better late than never.
Is this your biggest accomplishment when you look at the National Family Island Regatta, when you look at awards, achievements, and the whole lifetime organization of this?
I really don't know, Julian. That's not an easy, the award is certainly something that one would aspire to get. But when you look at what has been happening with the regatta over the last several years since I've taken over, I think I've been able to move the regatta to another level. Because when I started, we never really recognized those persons who've contributed so much. And as you know, each year we recognize those skippers who've been in the vineyard toiling and contributing to get this regatta to where it is today.
And that will do it for sports. Stay tuned. The Bahamas Tonight comes back after the break.
In our final look at weather, 31 days left in the tropical cyclone season, and nothing out there significant to talk about, save for that little area of low that's out there in the far eastern Atlantic. It is struggling trying to get together, as you see on our next map, and there it goes, that little low, but it's encountering some very strong upper levels sharing. Also, that dry air moving from the east towards the west is kind of prohibiting any kind of development there, but we'll continue to watch it over the weekend. On the home front, still have some residual clouds over the northwest Bahamas, courtesy of that front system, which is now pushing off towards the east, and that will lead to some clearing over the weekend, with 1 or 2 showers, particularly over the more northern islands like Abaco, Grand Bahama, and Bimini during the course of tonight. Tonight, the forecast calls for partly cloudy, mild temperatures getting down to 76 degrees, and tomorrow we are looking at partly sunny and warm. Rain chance about 20%. 85 degrees will be the high tomorrow. Your heat index will be somewhere around 96 degrees. The 5-day forecast is looking like this. Temperatures in the mid-80s right through the 5-day period, taking us into Wednesday of next week. And nighttime temperatures remaining pretty nice. And there you have it, Christopher and Charisma.
Well, a cute little kitten, a native Indian, a sexy sailor, a bunny, and a very scary-looking Dracula could be seen floating around the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas today as the True Blue Marlins presented a Halloween spectacular event filled with tricks and treats for staff and friends of the corporation to enjoy.
But some of them dress like that every day. I don't know why it was special today, especially the blue team.
Don't stop.
The event is a part of the team-oriented activities here at the corporation to promote camaraderie among staff as the BCB celebrates its 80th anniversary. So, we all got caught looking to see what was going on. But some of them...
Are you saying that some don't need costumes?
Some of them, I wasn't sure they were in costume or not.
Well, who are you dressed as today, Chris?
I'm dressed as Chris.
I was dressed as Beyonce. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. All right, well, that does it for us tonight. Thanks for tuning in.